came in kind of missing some extended time here in a little bit. You guys got a chance to see Harvey, you got a chance to see Thompson. Can you discuss, I guess, with both of them specifically, the things about their games that you like and kind of the, how your feelings about them stepping into that role?
Was very proud of how they approached the situation, approached the news. I didn't feel like the moment was too big for them. Tyler getting his first start in college and then Jabron playing a bunch of reps. I thought they handled it very well. There's been a consistent maturation in both of them over the past 8 months. And I think they were ready for the moment. They went out there and played really, really well. They both have differing styles of player, but both very effective at what we're asking them to do. And I think just that experience, kind of being thrust on them, they're going to even have more confidence going into Saturday. Now they've gotten their first significant amount of playing time under their belt.
Do either of them have a particular similarity with Kamen that maybe they picked up from this game, or maybe that he's kind of instructed?
I think one of the cool things is just the way Ruck prepares, and they've gotten to see him do that, and they went through the same preparation process too that I think helped them. I think they're different kind of players. They're really good players, and they both we'll use them in slightly different ways, but very effective. And I think just getting that, the first time you're ever thrust into playing a ton, there's probably a little bit of, whatever, but I think just moving forward, they're just going to cut it loose and play because they're both really good players.
The thing on those two, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Charlotte wasn't able to run the ball against you guys, but they were able to get some plays.
Sure.
How do you feel like overall assessment?
Yeah, so my first note, and even what I said in the staff meeting yesterday, is way too many explosives. There were 8 explosive plays, 80% of their yardage, 80% of their first downs were off of 8 plays. So just the rest of the game, I thought the guys played lights out, but we can't have those, explosive plays. 4 of them were simply an issue of leverage. We're supposed to be outside leverage on the guy. If we have outside leverage on those 4 of those plays, there's no play. So just a learning experience, we're in game 2, just making sure that as the formations change, as the looks change, the leverage relative to where you are on the field should be consistent, and just play with the proper leverage, play with your help, those kind of things, because on 2 of those 4, we had the kid doubled. So just play with the proper leverage. You've got somebody inside of you, just play outside, and we have no issues. So just showing that globally as a unit, because I don't want ever us to have an explosive play against us and people start wondering why that happened. So we address those in front of everybody on defense so they all see it. Nobody panics. Okay, it was simply a matter of leverage. He lost his one-on-one matchup, whatever the case may be. I keep doing my job because we were this close on probably 8 of them with a lot of pressures from the D-line, a lot of pressures from the linebackers, and just play with leverage and depth and all that.
Going back to Tyler and Jay Braun, you're saying there's different players. They do. They look different and everything about them kind of strikes different. Right now, are you just letting them, they go out there and they have straight series or doing everything and in time, or you just start maybe figuring out what each of them how each of them fit in?
Yep, so what we do is every Thursday we have a meeting called Playing the Players as a defensive staff. So we go through how we're going to play each guy that's in their room, okay? We played 25 guys on Saturday, which is awesome. We talked about playing a lot more players. We did it. And even early in the game, we just had guys rolling through. And what I do as a play caller, when I know Tyler's in the game, there might be certain things that I'll go to a little bit more if Jabron's in the game. Same thing with Jabron. I know Jabron's in the game. I know he does this really well. I do those kind of things and showcase those kind of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and I try to do that across the board, especially with the front 7. The things that we're going to do might look nuanced based on who's in the game.
How do you balance that and also trying to kind of figure out what they can do? Because practice is one thing, a game's a little bit different. So maybe something you would typically run for Jabron, you try running it for Tyler just to see if he can do it. Or
there
is
should
it
be
dangerous to try that in a game?
I've done it for a long time, so that's how I've called plays for a long, long time.
What I mean by dangerous, very quickly to clarify, meaning that trying things, testing things in the course of a game.
Yeah, we'll do that throughout the week. Yep, and get a feel for even all the way through. We got on Friday, we got 144 walkthrough reps. So we're seeing things that they can do, and just I always play quarterback during the walkthroughs. So I see their eyes and I know who's got the confidence in certain calls, who lights up when they see a certain call. So I put that in my mental Rolodex. Okay, Jabron's in, we're doing X, Y, and Z. Tyler's in, we're gonna do these kind of things. So we just play that game the whole way through. And the same thing on the interior. Like if Ritzy and Trav are in the game together, I'm doing these things. Scoob and Josh are in the game together, I'm doing these things. So it's just repetition, and that's how it works.
Coach Collins, on the topic of consistency and maturation, can you talk about just Javari Ritzy and how his development has been displayed in these past 2 games? He's already leading the country with 5 sacks. Can you just talk about him and what he's been doing for your team?
Yep. So I think, first of all, Javari is a tremendous young man. Every UNC alumnus and every student of this university should be proud that he's representing this great place. He works so hard. He has such a good demeanor. He's so positive. He works so hard. He prepares so well. The 1 sack he got late in the 3rd quarter he was again the guy that was setting up the play for somebody else. But he got to the top end of that rush and used his technique, spun back, and he was rewarded with the sack. Even though he was the one in the moment was being unselfish, I think it was to get Tyler free. Tyler did come free, but it forced the quarterback to move, and Javari stepped in there, made a great play. And then on the first sack that he got, he was the punch contain player into the boundary. The pressure flushed him. He kept playing technique and makes that great play. So I think it's just accumulation of execution, preparation, being a tremendous athlete has all come together. And I'm just so proud of him to get rewarded for all of his work and who he is as a young man.
Do you think that his leadership is also showing up outside the field as well?
I think it always does. I think it always has. I mean, I think he's been one of the guys that's kind of been, Jeremy would know, been a constant in this program as a leader, as a role model, somebody that is just very poised, practices hard, plays hard, is just an all-around, just a great dude.
Geoff, you made it a point when you got hired, whenever it was January, I guess it was January, to watch the defense, to really break it down.
Yep.
The defense you were inheriting.
Yep.
In terms of Ritzy and the player you inherited with
Sure.
him, what sort of evolution has this been for him from the guy you were watching on film from last year to this dude you've seen in these first 2 games? Like, it seems like.
And I think it's kind of just been a consistent process. I dropped this stat yesterday. Since I got here in January, we've had over 8,000 reps, whether it be a walkthrough, practice reps, scrimmage reps, whatever the case may be, that we've got to go through how we play our defense. The schematics, the techniques, the fundamentals. So they have all of those cumulative reps. Now they can just play free, see what the offense is doing, and go out and fly around and have fun. Because on game days, I want to be the one that does the thinking. I want them to cut it loose and play free and play fast. And I think you're seeing Javari do that, executing at a high level, playing the concepts of the defense, playing with great fundamentals, but then being able to take that next step and express himself and make really good plays. Now, the celebration after the second one, he may have expressed himself a little longer than maybe needed, but he's having fun playing the game, and he's playing at a very, very high level.
Geoff, what's the challenge at linebacker to build depth? I mean, obviously you got 2
Sure.
studs there, but behind them it's been kind of a struggle to find.
Sure, and one of the first pieces is Amari and Power are playing at a really, really high level. Did we announce Amari as the player of the game, player of the week? Yep, so well-deserved, played lights out, had a ton of production. Power Echols, I think everybody associated with Carolina football knows the kind of player he is. So that's been the challenge, and we've gotten, I think the young backers got, 10 to 16 reps on Saturday, and I think LaValle had maybe 8 in the previous game. So just throwing them in there, getting them exposure at it, just keep building their confidence, keep building their growth. Because when they're at practice, they're playing really, really well, and just throwing them into the fire a little more will, I think, help their maturation and growth. But they're both really good players. Ashton Wood's a really good player. Cade Law is going to be a really good player. So we've got depth.
Talk about with Chip about the game slowing down for Harold. Do you see that with LaValle and Short and those guys?
I do.
Coming around.
Yep, and the way, and you guys probably haven't been at practice in a while just to see how we do the walkthroughs, but we try to get a ton of reps in a 10-minute period just to overload them with the scheme so they can execute it and they can just do it without even thinking. That's the part that we want them to be at. Amari's there, Power is there, where they hear the call, they know exactly all the adjustments, checks, and they go play fast. I think that next group is right there on the cusp of being at that level.
Matt was talking about the physical transformation Travis has made. I guess it was towards a 370 in January, and then today he weighed in at 329.
Right.
And that's about the timeline you've been here, I guess.
Sure.
What have you seen in terms of just a physical standpoint and mental standpoint of how Travis has evolved?
Yeah, just the 8 months that I've known Trav, just his maturation, how he's matured, how he's approached the game is just been a consistent improvement climb. And just the way he's playing right now, I've been having listed down on my list right here to make sure I talk about, is he's executing at a high level, playing within the framework of the defense, but still being very productive and being very disruptive. Because a lot of the times when we're making tackles for loss, it's Trav that's just destroying the play. We go on the goal, we had 2 goal line stands on Saturday. Travis Shaw is at the nose, just taking up both gaps. Even though he's 40 pounds lighter, he's still a big, powerful man that is shooting back there and just creating disruption. They can't run the ball in there. And the other one I had down was Des Evans. I thought Des Evans played amazingly. Down in the goal line stands as well, Des Evans, him, Travis, Josh Harris, just ridiculous amount of push to keep him out of the end zone. So been very pleased with both of them, and really the entire defensive line, playing with fundamentals, playing with technique, playing with an edge, playing with an attitude, and just building walls so that our guys can run through and make plays.
Was getting his weight down ever a conversation you guys had earlier?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess, what was your advice of that? And, I mean, are you surprised he got down 40 pounds?
No, I just think Ted Monachino, and have gotten to know Ted, is an amazing defensive line coach. And when somebody that's coached in the NFL for 16 years and coached some of the best, say, hey, Trav, you get down to 330, you can be in these conversations. When he says it, it has the gravitas, it has the weight, and the motivation behind it. And then our nutrition staff, Amber and Izzy and the rest of it, they do a ridiculously good job, not only with their guidance and their expertise, but their relationships with the guys and the trust factor that they have, and knowing that they have their best interest at heart. And if you follow their advice and instruction, you're going to be able to accomplish it. And the other one, to your point, is Marcus Allen. So Marcus Allen got the second award for the defense, the Menace Award. Marcus Allen made some key open field tackles on Saturday that I don't know if he makes last year. He's 10 pounds heavier, he's more confident in his physicality, he's stronger, and I think he would self-admittedly say that those 10 pounds that he's added, and it's been really good weight, led to him being able to make those tackles. One was a 3rd and 3 or 4th, whatever, 3rd and 3 on the goal line, and he makes a huge open field tackle. Great technique, great fundamentals. We executed the call perfectly, switching off the routes. But then stopping somebody from getting in the end zone, that ain't an easy task, and Marcus did it.
A 2-part question on Caleb Cost here. Your general thoughts on how he's played so
Yeah.
far, and also with some of the mistakes we've seen, the evidence of a guy that missed spring and is still a very young player, had one game.
So I think, so 2 of the leverage plays were Caleb, but I made sure I'd made a big deal yesterday. Caleb Cost played really well Saturday. If you watch the totality of how Caleb Cost played, he played a really good football game. There's 2 plays that he wishes he could have back, 2 plays he wishes he could have played with proper leverage. We'll get those things fixed. But the other plays that Caleb was in, he was playing really good. And when you play DB at this level, there's going to be some plays that you're going to get beat one-on-one, and everybody sees it. Brush that aside, put the ball down, let's learn from it, and let's go. But Caleb Cost obviously missed some of the spring. I think we had him, 2 practices, maybe 3, whatever. So just the fundamentals, techniques, and just playing with the leverages that we require in the system, he's going to get it and be a big-time player for us. And if you just watch every single play, you would say 21 had a really good game.
DBs have to have a short memory.
100%. He and I had that conversation, not to quote Ted Lasso, but I talked about being a goldfish yesterday during stretch lines with Caleb. Like, hey, it's over. I'm past it. We've learned from it. Keep it moving and let's put the ball down and let's go.
He's a baseball guy. They inherently have short memories as well.
Okay.
Have you seen that from him?
I'm not.
I mean, I'm saying like from short memory with what you're doing, with
Yeah.
some of the mistakes he's making.
Well, I think, you know, when you first start getting his third start now in college, I think the further you get, that's an easier task. I mean, I'm 50-something years old, and it's still hard for me to let some things go as well. Like the last touchdown that they got should have never happened. We had bad communication. They go for a touchdown. I didn't sleep Saturday night, so even though I preached trying to be a goldfish, I wasn't a goldfish after that. I was still pretty upset about it, so.
Jeff, in terms of, I know we've been talking a lot about the defensive line, but in terms of the guys that you've been able to use through 2 games, I think it was 9 guys you got in Minnesota.
Yep.
11 guys the other day.
Yep.
I think the most snaps anyone played against Charlotte was 32
Yep.
on the D-line. I mean, in terms of the freshness early in the season, I would think you have to, this is setting up exactly
That's
like
right on target. That's what Coach Brown and I talked about back in January, and Coach Brown has harped on it the whole last 8 months, and everybody's bought into it. All the coaches have bought into it. The players have bought into it. There's an unselfishness to that group that's really cool, and they're understanding, hey, if I'm whoever X, Y, and Z, I'm playing 30 plays or 40 plays. Well, those 30 and 40 plays are going to be my best because I'm fresh. And I think they've all kind of bought into that style of play, and there's not been a drop-off. Any of those 11 go in, like Rodney Lore and Joel Starlings played on Saturday, they played winning football. They played really good. Same thing with Jay Bron and Tyler, we've already talked about. But it's nice to have a defensive line that has so much depth, so much size, so much quality of play across the entire front. If we can just keep them rolling, I think it's going to be really good for us.
One other emphasis that you had this year is better tackling.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that in
Yep.
preseason, just Hudson tackling Mac that one-time one-on-one was obviously a great example. How do you
Right.
assess the tackling for the first 2 games?
So the first game, the explosives came because of poor tackling against Minnesota. So the explosives, I think 8 of the 9 or whatever, 6 of the 7 were because we missed the tackle at like 3 or 4 or 5 yards. It ended up being explosive. That wasn't the case on Saturday. We had 1 missed tackle on a over the ball route across the middle, missed the tackle, missed a second tackle that led to an explosive. The rest of the explosives were not due to missed tackles. And I thought we tackled really well throughout the game at all 3 levels, which is, we just got to keep building on it. The thing, when we have our unit meetings almost every day, on Tuesday's practice, there's a huge graphic, tackling and pursuit can be improved every day. So we talk about it, we list the rushing yards that we had in the first game, we list the rushing yards that we had against the second game, running to the football matters, tackling in space matters, gang tackling matters, and we just kind of reinforce that across the whole defense.
PFF had you guys for only 3 missed tackles Saturday. Was that the number that you guys had?
I think so. I know we had 2 on that one play. So
what are just some of your
Last one.
what are some of your just early impressions of studying Central, what they do on offense?
Yep.
What stands out?
yeah, so I think the running back's really good. They've got a big offensive line that's got a lot of starts coming back. 88, the receiver, is long, athletic, really fast, and they do a lot of things that can pose problems. So we actually spent the last 4 hours watching them, game planning them, all those kind of things. But I think it's a really good offense.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Great use